The Goly PorterGrinder, my honest gear review. Brilliant EQ, sounds fantastic. It is a very special sounding EQ. The one thing I will say about it is it's not your one EQ. It's an EQ best paired with another EQ. I use it a lot with the Buzz REQ, and the reason being is because the PorterGrinder is a very transparent sounding EQ. You can crank this thing up, and you know, what does it go up to? Plus, what's that? Plus 6 dB. So you can get plus 6 dB, and even at plus 6 dB, you will find you could probably go more. You could go probably up to plus 12, for instance, double that amount, and it's not like it's too much. It's very transparent, and that's why I say it would be an EQ that you'd pair with another EQ, because it's totally different. It's totally different to like the Buzz. It's totally different to the Tube EQ. It's totally different to the PQ. It's a whole different EQ, and it is exceptionally good. How it sounds fantastic. It's just a very transparent EQ. If you want to lift out, the great thing is it's got mid-side built into it as standard, which is brilliant. So if you want to lift out the sides, you can really lift the sides out without it being too much. It's not a case of, you could crank that up to plus 6 dB and the sides open up really nicely, but it's not like some EQs you can crank it up to plus 6 dB and you'll hear it'll be too much. It'll be a really noticeable effect, whereas the PorterGrinder, it's very subtle, and that's a really nice thing. And that's why I say that it's an EQ that you'd want to pair with something else. You don't necessarily, if you had it as your only EQ in your mastering chain, you wouldn't get full use out of it. It's not that sort of EQ. Like, I would never do any kind of cuts with it in terms of surgical EQ. I wouldn't do that with it. It's more, I find it's more of an enhancement tool, a very luxury EQ that really does sound good. Yeah, the other really good thing with it is there's gain outputs on the, so if you've got it in mid side, or so you've got left and right outputs that you have an output on which go up to plus 6, so plus minus 6 dB. Now the good thing with that is you can use this as well to add more mid. So if you put it into mid side mode, you can add more mid, like literally increase the gain on the mid, or you can increase the output on the side. So if you want a kind of a wider image, for instance, you can go plus 2 dB and you bring up the sides, so the sides increase in volume. Same with the mid. If you want more straight down the middle, increase the mid. That's a really nice option that it's added. In terms of build, the build's really good. The one thing to mention is the casing on the top rattles sometimes, so you have to, like what I've done is I've put a kind of a rubber spacer in the back so that it doesn't rattle. And you can, if you've got a kick drum for instance that's kicking in a room, you can hear the PorterGrinder kind of rattle, and it's all it is the top, the kind of casing on the top, the lid to it just rattles a little bit. It needs another screw in the middle, front and back, just to stop it from rattling. But an easy solution for it is to just put a little rubber strip down the back, and then it doesn't rattle. Apart from that, it's a brilliant EQ. It really is a good EQ. 4 bands, gain, frequency, Q. I'd highly recommend it. But like I say, I'd highly recommend it as an EQ to add to an existing EQ that's very much your surgical EQ, your main kind of, let's call it your workhorse EQ. This is a luxury EQ to add to it. That would be my honest view on the Goly PorterGrinder. Quality EQ, one of the best sounding transparent EQs I've used.